F1 Manager 24 grid changes every race. The 2025 Spanish Grand Prix. It's round number 2 of the 2025 season. This season, we will be changing things up a little bit. The driver who's first in the championship for the next race will be driving the worst car on the grid. The driver 20th and last in the championship will be in the best car on the grid. So this is how our grid looks for the second race. Lando Norris in the Williams alongside Max Verstappen. Oscar Piastri in the Alpine alongside Fernando Alonso. Alexander Albon at Audi alongside Pierre Gasly. Valtteri Bottas is at RB alongside Daniel Ricciardo. That is the team we are using this season. Lance Stroll and Nico Hulkenberg at Haas. Then we have Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez at Mercedes. Zhou Guanyu and Esteban Ocon at Aston Martin. George Russell and Carlos Sainz at Ferrari. Yuki Tsunoda and Lewis Hamilton at Red Bull. And then Stoffel Van Dorn and Liam Lawson at McLaren. So yeah, because Lawson finished last in the first race, so he will be driving the best car on R&D, which is the McLaren. Lando Norris won last race, so he's first in the championship. So he's in the Williams, which is the worst car on R&D, or at least on the performance kind of chart that the game gives me, that the database editor gives me. That is how we're doing it this season, changing it up a little bit from last season, just to make it a little bit different. Also, potentially we'll make it a bit closer here because we won't have, teams drivers kind of, even though they're high in the championship, they may get lucky and get into a good car for the next race. So just changing things up a little bit, doing a few upgrades and a bit of scouting going into this next race. Scouted a couple of drivers, Dino Beganovic and Frederick Vesti. Also getting some upgrades made, manufactured, designed and everything. A couple of facility upgrades too. We're going to put our new side pod on one of our cars. On car 1, we only have one available going into this race. But yeah, done a few little things going into this one. So we can pretty much get going here with Bottas and Ricciardo, our drivers for this race. 10th or higher for Bottas. It says rank on grid 11th. So we're going to see if we can do anything with that. For Ricciardo, we're going to go 14th for him because his rank on grid is 13th. So let's see what that does. And now we get into this. I think I've actually forgotten to show you guys the performance chart here, but that's fine. I must have forgot to do it for this race, but oh well. You're not going to see the performance chart, but basically nothing really changed from last round. Going into Q1 here, looking at Ricciardo at the moment, our second car. So Bottas has the new upgrade, the side pod on the car. Ricciardo doesn't because we only had one of those come through for this race. So yeah, Bottas will potentially have a slightly better car for this race, but we'll see if that actually affects anything here. As yeah, Ricciardo just about manages to squeeze through into Q2. It is very, very close. P15 for him. Both Williams, both Audis, and Oscar Piastri in the Alpine out in Q1. So yeah, Lando Norris, the winner from the last race, P20 and dead last in qualifying here in Spain. So that's just showing you how this season hopefully will be a little bit closer, because although it was fairly close for a while in the 2024 season, towards the end, it was just after the halfway point, Sainz took the lead of the Drivers' Championship and kind of didn't look back because he was swapping between, I think, like McLaren and I don't know, one of like Williams or one of the lower teams. I think it was Williams because we were Williams at the time. So yeah, Sainz kind of had a good time of it last season. Hopefully the way we're doing it this time might make things a bit closer. Unfortunately, Daniel Ricciardo doesn't get through to Q3. He's P11 though, an improvement on Q1, but doesn't quite make it through to the next part of qualifying. However, Bottas does make it through, so we have one car through. Both Haas's out, Alonso in the other Alpine, and Zhou Guanyu in the Aston Martin, the other driver, out in Q2. And then we go here with Valtteri Bottas for our quick lap of Q3. Currently sitting P8 after the first runs, which is pretty decent, looking not too bad. Sainz currently on top, just 45 hundredths ahead. 45 hundredths? Yeah, 45 hundredths ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn and then Liam Lawson, the top 4 actually within a second of each other, so very, very close at the top. Bottas now down to P9 as I believe Perez has overtaken us. Tsunoda's in 10th at the moment. He obviously didn't have a particularly good first lap, but I believe he's going to cross the line shortly and go quicker as Bottas comes down this little straight here to finish off Sector 2. And we're still green through there, so there is improvement here for Valtteri Bottas. We'll see where it puts us. We're not too far behind Ocon at the moment, and I think he has finished his lap, so we could potentially at least get ahead of him. I believe Tsunoda's about to cross the line. No, that was Hamilton. I think Tsunoda's only just started a lap, but Bottas now crosses the line, goes up to P6. In the end, it's going to be P7 for Valtteri Bottas. I'm pretty happy with that. Yuki Tsunoda ends up putting himself on pole position in the Red Bull ahead of the 2 Ferraris, Russell ahead of Carlos Sainz, then Hamilton in 4th. Then you've got the 2 McLarens of Van Dorn and Lawson, with then Bottas 7th, the 2 Mercedes of Leclerc and Perez 8th and 9th, and then Esteban Ocon just managing to get there in 10th place in the Aston Martin. That is what the qualifying results are, what the grid is probably going to look like if there's no penalties for this Spanish Grand Prix in 2025. So let's see what happens going into this second race of the season.
The stage is set here in Barcelona, 66 laps around a track that the drivers know inside and out.
Barcelona is a circuit with plenty of history under its belt. It was here, after all, that multiple world champion Max Verstappen secured his very first F1 victory back in 2016.
Barcelona is a tricky circuit to balance. The technical corners demand high downforce, but that means adding stress to tyres and potentially limiting race strategies if teams go too far. The time has almost come for our drivers to fight it out wheel to wheel. Race day has arrived.
Right, so let's have a look at the race preparation for this race. Bottas and Ricciardo both on a 2-stop. Bottas going medium hard to soft, Ricciardo going soft hard to medium. So same amount of stops, slightly different strategies going on here for both drivers, but let's see what happens.
The anticipation is really building here. The fans in attendance are absolutely buzzing with excitement. And with his helmet on, that trademark smile is gone. But now's the time to focus.
They continue to build their F1 legacy as they reach their 250th race start. A tremendous milestone.
And the time has come. Let's go racing. This is it. It's the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
Very quick lights out here in Spain. We have a look at the front of the grid. Tsunoda there off the line. Russell coming with him down into turn 1 alongside his teammate Sainz. Hamilton having a look there going into turn 1 as well. But it is actually the 2 Ferraris that are going to be side by side, second and third here. Sainz trying to get ahead of George Russell. Russell is trying to keep the lead though from his teammate. Tsunoda still out in the lead of this race at the moment. He's on the outside though into turn 1, but he will cut across. The 2 Ferraris still battling it out here. Great racing between those two. I think Sainz though has gotten ahead. Yes, he has. Carlos Sainz, our 2024 Drivers' Champion, has taken the lead. And then at the end of lap 1, he is now chasing after Yuki Tsunoda as he somehow sets the fastest lap after lap 1. Don't really know how that works when he's not leading the race. But yeah, he is going into turn 1. He's going to try and go around the outside of Yuki Tsunoda, and he's going to do it. Carlos Sainz takes the lead of this Spanish Grand Prix, of his home Grand Prix here at Ferrari. He's going to be loving that. Bottas and Ricciardo kind of fighting each other a little bit here. Ricciardo is on soft tyres, so he is potentially going to be quicker at the start of this race. So he gets past Bottas, and Ricciardo is actually seeing if he can make a move on Perez as well here. So we're going to, with Bottas, we're going to let Ricciardo kind of try and, you know, drive on up ahead here because he is on those soft compound tyres. Now at the front once again, Tsunoda trying to get back past Sainz, but Sainz locks up into turn 1. It is disaster for Carlos Sainz. He is locked up. I don't think he's made any contact with anyone or the wall, but he is falling right down to the back of the pack here. We'll have a look at a little bit of a replay. It goes for a defensive shake on Tsunoda, who cuts back, but then Sainz just completely locks up. Hamilton actually gets around his teammate and takes the lead of this race from 3rd position. But for Sainz, it's very unfortunate. Here we now have a look at Nico Hülkenberg going for a move on Bottas as well, round the outside of turn 1. Then the inside for the next corner. Nice move for Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas, getting past our driver of Bottas. And now chasing after Daniel Ricciardo. I believe Hülkenberg is also on the soft compound tyres. And here we have a look at Ricciardo getting past one of the Mercedes there, I believe, of Sergio Perez. Good move for Ricciardo. He is finding a bit of form with these soft compound tyres. Now we have Liam Lawson currently in P4. Of course, finished P20 and last in the first race of the season at Imola. He's now overtaken Tsunoda for 3rd position in this race. Lawson is up into the podium positions in the McLaren. Esteban Ocon now on the back of a bit of a train, but spins around one of these next corners. Thankfully can get it going pretty quickly again, but is going to be overtaken by at least one car there. Now we once again have Ricciardo trying to battle again with Perez. A little bit of kind of back and forth between these two at the moment. But Ricciardo gets back past, but then Perez comes straight back again up the inside. Very classy move there, but Ricciardo is going to try and stick himself, stay on the outside. He's going to be just ahead as they get to the front straight here, but I think that's going to put Ricciardo under pressure from Perez, because Perez is now going to have the DRS down into turn 1. And Ricciardo is going to struggle to do anything here. He doesn't even really defend at all, as Bottas and Hülkenberg are fighting it out behind as well. You can just see there Bottas trying to get past Hülkenberg on those soft compound tyres. So now perhaps the mediums are starting to come a little bit better. The softs are going off a little bit as Bottas gets back past Hülkenberg and now has Ricciardo just ahead of him. Now once again here, Perez seems to be really struggling though on those medium tyres, as Bottas now gets past him as well. So now both of our drivers are past Sergio Perez, who does seem to be struggling. And we may have the problem of our two drivers now getting caught up with each other, as Lance Stroll goes for a spin but a quick return to the track there. Don't believe he loses any positions there in the Haas, but not exactly what he would have wanted. We then have our two drivers side by side here. I'm kind of deciding what I want to do here in regards to, you know, do I want to let one of them go? Is Ricciardo still quicker? Is Bottas now quicker? We end up telling Ricciardo to let Bottas go, because I believe his soft tyres are starting to go off now. And a couple of laps later, he will be coming into the pits, Daniel Ricciardo, for his first pit stop onto the hard compound tyre. It's a 2.4 second pit stop. Not too bad. Not the best pit stop in the world. We never seem to be able to get super quick pit stops in this game. I don't know why that is. But yeah, we seem to always struggle with that. As then a few laps later, Bottas will come in for his hard compound tyres as well on lap 24. He, I believe, was leading the race for a portion here, or was at least in second position due to everybody else doing pit stops. We then have Bottas also going for another move, this time I believe on Nico Hülkenberg past the Haas into turn 1. Easy move done way before the braking zone, and that puts Bottas up a position. Our teammates are actually now pretty close to each other once again, 2.3 seconds between the two of them towards the front, and Russell now going around the outside of Hamilton to retake kind of the net lead of this race. I mean, Tsunoda's a bit further ahead, but he is on a slightly different strategy. Charles Leclerc now in the Mercedes, starting to show some good pace here, going for a move on one of our RB cars, one of our V-carb cars. I believe Leclerc was further up the order, but, you know, once again, different strategies. He's on the medium tyre, whereas both of our drivers are currently on the hards. Now Ricciardo's coming under threat from Leclerc as well, who goes for a late dive up the inside of the left-hander. Makes a very easy move there. But Ricciardo's going to try and come back at Leclerc down towards turn 1. Managed to stay within the DRS coming into this, coming onto this straight. And Ricciardo does get back past Charles Leclerc. So that is not going to be what Leclerc wants here. He's looking to move himself further up the order. I also don't want my drivers to be fighting each other too much or fighting other drivers too much here, because into the next corner, Leclerc once again is going to dive up the inside and make a pretty easy overtake on Ricciardo. And I think now I need to see what's going to happen here with Ricciardo, because do we want to just let Bottas go? They're both on the same tyres now, but yeah, in the end we do let Bottas go past Ricciardo, and now Bottas is going to get past Zhou Guanyu, who's on slightly older medium compound tyres. This puts Bottas up into 5th position. So there's a lot going on here. Once again, we have Zhou again here, who ends up getting back ahead of Bottas, but then locks up into turn 1, just like Carlos Sainz did. Not quite as bad of a lock up there, but not what Zhou would have wanted. Now Perez fighting with our drivers as well. I believe this is once again with Valtteri Bottas round the outside of the final corner for a nice easy overtake there for Perez, and I believe he has the DRS as well, so that's really going to help him out. It's going to be a bit of a race-long battle between those two though. Tsunoda now has a spin off turn 1 after leading this race. He says he's an idiot, and well, maybe that is the case. That is not what he or Red Bull would have wanted. Leading this race, spins off on turn 1. That is very unfortunate for Yuki Tsunoda. Now lap 45, Ricciardo's coming in for his final stop onto the medium compound tyres for the last 20 or so laps of this race. He comes out P13, ends up dropping down to P16, but now has the 2 Alpines ahead of him, who are kind of going to block him in a little bit here. Piastri on the left, Alonso actually using this to go past his teammate. It's almost 3 wide into turn 1. Piastri loses out there, actually loses to his teammate, loses to Ricciardo as well. And now Ricciardo is up to P15. Next lap around, and Ricciardo still trying to get past Alonso. He's going to try and go around the outside here. Now Verstappen in the Williams is also just ahead of them, really slowing this pack down here in that slow Williams. But Ricciardo gets past Alonso around the outside and then dives up the inside of Max Verstappen. That is a great couple of overtakes there for Daniel Ricciardo. Lap 51, Bottas is in for his final stop onto the soft compound for the final few laps of this race. This could be helpful for Ricciardo. He's definitely, or he should, be the quickest of our 2 drivers, and he has already come out ahead of Ricciardo anyway. The 2 McLarens are fighting each other, Van Dorn and Lawson, 2 lowest in the championship, driving the best car on the R&D performance rating in that McLaren, currently fighting over a podium. Russell and Hamilton look like the 2 fighting for the lead of this race now after Tsunoda's spin. It is a Russell versus Hamilton, but it's not Mercedes. It's Ferrari and Red Bull, as Russell takes the lead at that point in time. Bottas now in P11, looking at a points finish here. He has the 2 Aston Martins ahead of him, who are going to go side by side into turn 1, but Bottas is going to go round the outside of Ocon to get up into P10. Great opportunistic move there for Valtteri Bottas. That puts him up into P10. Now he's got Zhou Guanyu in the other Aston Martin, and he's going to dive up the inside of him into the next right-hander. There's a yellow flag. I don't know what that's for, but Bottas has managed to get past Zhou as well. He's got past both Aston Martins. There's a crash apparently between Russell and Hamilton. What is this? Around the left-hander here, just pushed a little bit wide. Oh no, it's between Russell and Verstappen, I believe that is, in the Williams. What is going on there? That is very unfortunate for George Russell, especially fighting for the lead, and he crashes with a back marker of Max Verstappen as Bottas now gets up to P7 ahead of Sergio Perez. Bottas is flying in this race now, although Perez is going to be a bit of a tight foe here in this race as he gets back past us with 3 laps to go. We're looking at least a P8 position here, maybe a P7 if we can finish ahead of Sergio Perez, as once again lap 65 of 66 we're getting back past Perez again just into turn 1 to get back up into P7. going on to the final lap of this race, and Leclerc in the Mercedes all of a sudden is now fighting for a podium. He's going up the inside of Stoffel Van Dorn in the McLaren to take P3 in this race. Russell in the Ferrari is just behind him as well after his issue with Verstappen, but Leclerc will get up to P3 now, but will have to defend from Russell to see if he can keep a podium here in this race. This would be a great result for him. Russell's going to, though, have a look up the inside, but not quite get it. Leclerc is going to, I think, get P3 here in this race.
And at the end of that final lap, Hamilton has secured the win.
All credit to the team for the car they've put together, but without that incredible and consistent driving, it'd all be for nothing.
Well, it's Lewis Hamilton who will win this second race of this 2025 season, the Spanish Grand Prix. It'll be a Red Bull 1-2 with Tsunoda in second place, but 16.8 seconds behind the leader. And Charles Leclerc will just come home for a P3 result in that Mercedes. A great result for Mercedes. They've not looked particularly quick this season so far, or even last season, but to get a podium here for Charles Leclerc, that is a good result, and Bottas comes home in 7th.
Lewis Hamilton takes to the podium once more, adding yet another trophy to his legacy.
That gives them their first win of the season, and it was really well deserved.
And by the looks of things here in Barcelona, the party's only just beginning.
Great result from Lewis Hamilton to win this Spanish Grand Prix. Yuki Tsunoda, after his spin into turn 1, does at least come home P2, so he'll be happy with that. And a great result from Charles Leclerc to come up 5 positions to finish P3. Definitely better than where that Mercedes is on paper. Russell comes home 4th, Van Dorn is the best of the McLarens in 5th, with Sainz 6th, Bottas 7th, Perez 8th, and then the 2 Aston Martins of Ocon and Zhou in 9th and 10th rounding off the points. The other McLaren of Liam Lawson, by the way, came in late to the pits, so didn't score points, so that means that Lawson is probably going to be last in the championship, even after driving the best car. Lando Norris still leads the championship after round 2 because he won the race and got the fastest lap in round 1. So he's on 26 points, with Hamilton in second on 25, Verstappen down to third on 18 points. So basically just, yeah, a bit of a shuffle around of the grid there, just based on, you know, everybody basically driving opposite cars to what they were in the first round. And it is Liam Lawson, even after 2 rounds, the only driver to not score a point yet. So that just shows us, I think, that this is going to be a closer season than in 2024. And in the Constructors, well, Red Bull now take over the lead of the Constructors' Championship from McLaren. Mercedes jump up to 4th as well with that P3 result for Leclerc. And RB, our team, jumps up to 6th position. 6 more points for us. We're now on 7 points, just 2 points behind Aston Martin, but 3 points ahead of Haas in 7th. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.